Today I'm going to discuss nervous system regulation and give you a simple tool that you can use to help you really relax this nervous system. So calm yourself down. So especially in times of stress, whether that's high anxiety, high worry, high anger, whatever that feeling may be going, it's a simple hack that you can use that'll quickly calm your nervous system down and help you relax. So it's really a cool thing that's been happening over the last several years where there's really been a shift of people really talking and seeing the connection between the mind and body and how they correlate and relate to each other. Having been in this work for the last, 2 decades, it's really interesting to see how even science is starting to catch up. And, I remember back when I first started, I had a friend who was very analytical and sciencey, asked, when I was kind of explaining to him what I did, he's like, "What are you, ahead of science?" And it wasn't that I was ahead of science. People were doing what I was doing, but there wasn't the research behind it. Now you can see in the body, in books like The Body Keeps Score or Gabor Mate's books and works, there's really, proof showing how this lines up and how it's connected. And so we're starting to see that, things like trauma and childhood stuff actually is showing up, not necessarily in our mind, but actually in our bodies. And so it's a lot of times why even, talk therapy doesn't necessarily get to the root of the problem, because it's not stored in your mind. It's actually stored in your body. And it's great to see that, it's starting to show up here in more mainstream media. So really what happens is that your body goes into a state of high arousal. And we call this the sympathetic nervous system. So when maybe hundreds of years ago when you might encounter a bear, you're going to do a couple things. You're either going to run, you're going to freeze, or you're going to fight. And those things aren't really options today because we don't have to worry. We live in cities and bears aren't really, something we have to worry about. However, there's a new stress, and that could be our children, work, society, and, financial situations, and all these other things that now stimulate our nervous system. And so what happens is creates a disruption. And not to get too deep into the weeds, is that a lot of this happens early on, research says between the ages of 6 and up to 9, typically. And you start to formulate stuff that happens and it gets stored within our body. So your nervous system doesn't complete a cycle and it gets stored and stuck there. And so a lot of times what happens in today's world is triggered by some of the stuff that happens in our past system. But when it comes to the nervous system, now we're in this constant state of stress because of, you have to deal with the kids and our job and, our spouses and our aging family, and it's impacting yourself now. So when you're in this state of fight or flight, which deals with, like I said, like being able to run from this bear, so it's increasing your blood flow and increasing your heart rate, and like you were to exercise. But if you were to exercise 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it would be really hard on the body. But similarly, we have a system that does the opposite. It slows our body down, and it's in charge of all the things that isn't automatic, like digestion, healing, your sleep, skincare, all these, urinary tract stuff. So all these things that are just done that you don't think about is all done by the parasympathetic system. But we can only have one system working at a time. And so when we're in a constant state of arousal, your parasympathetic system isn't really working or functioning as it should, or maximizing its time. So what do we see? Well, we see, gut-related issues, so maybe it's dietary problems, or it's inflammation that we might see in the body, or it might show up as pain in our bodies. It might show up as we can't sleep, or you might have dizziness, anxiety, all these things that show up because of your parasympathetic that's calming you down isn't functioning and isn't doing its job. And so a lot of people are functioning or working at clearing their gut, but only having their system return back because you're not addressing the root of the problem being that stress response. And the tool I'm going to show is a quick hack to show you that a way to get out of that arousal state, your parasympathetics, and calm yourself into the parasympathetic stuff to calm your nervous system. So it'll release the endorphins, it'll release the relaxation that occurs, and allow you to get back into that state of healing, of regulation. So it's pretty simple. So take a moment, and I want you just to, it's best if you can relax. Just calm yourself. Just kind of get comfortable wherever you are, whether you're in a chair, maybe if you can lie down, even better. So just close your eyes and just start to take a breath in with just a regular breath in. And the next inhalation, you're going to feel your breath. Just feel it. Notice most people will breathe just shallow, where they're just breathing at the top of their chest. So on the next inhalation, I want you to go a little bit deeper, and I want you to put your hand on your chest and feel your chest get larger or higher as you start to breathe in deeper. And I always say, look to the baby, because babies are perfect, right? So on your next inhalation, you want to get that breath into your belly, because babies breathe through their belly. Why? Because that's a deep breath, and that's what we want to be doing. So on that next inhalation, just get that breath even deeper and feel your belly raise and fall with each breath. So take a couple of those deep breaths. Now see if you can get that breath even further down, maybe past your belly. So just concentrate on your breath and take these, several deep breaths in and out. Good. So as you're doing these nice deep breaths in and out, I want you to take your hands, so just cup them in with your fingers out, and I invite you just to start simultaneously. So fingers towards your body, so fingers sticking towards your body, and just tap around your belly button and at the top of your, right on your manubrium. So that's the bone that's just below your throat, but it's above the sternum where your ribs come together. It's that bone at the top. So just in a nice, bigger stance, just with your fingers, you're going to be tapping simultaneously with those both hands. And you can go whatever speed you want, at whatever rhythm you want, whatever pressure you want. And you're going to do this for, 30 to 60 seconds ideally. And you could just start to notice your whole body starting to calm. And this is the practice. So really, you may not have been able to do it in the moment of us speaking, but now just take that idea. It's really simple. Deep belly breaths or more, right? Take several of those and then start the tapping. So just at your belly button, just over top of your belly button. So it's like a circle around your belly button, and over your manubrium, that bone that's kind of where your collarbone comes into, right there. So you're just going to tap there as well for ideally about 60 seconds. And then once you're done, just take a moment and pause and just notice how much calmer you are. If you're still quite aroused, do it again. And that should settle it. And obviously, if you want to look at really getting to the deeper root of the problem, looking at your trauma, feel free to reach out. I'd love to have a conversation about that. Take care and have a great day.